What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today on Wowhead, we've gotten a post that has sparked a lot of conversations around the community. Now, I've been reading about this for the last week or two, I would say, on Reddit, but I didn't want to make a video on it because I wasn't 100% sure if all of it was true, but Wowhead has now confirmed that this is the case. There is a hidden resilience inside Warsong Gulch in Season of Discovery. So without further ado, guys, let's dive in. Okay, so we have this post up here on Wowhead Classic. Damage reduced by 25% in Warsong Gulch Season of Discovery, posted 6 hours ago by Rockman. So, Season of Discovery players have noticed that damage is being reduced in Warsong Gulch against enemy players by 25%. 25%, that's a lot of damage reduction, which is an undocumented change that hasn't been mentioned in any developer communications. Player damage is reduced by 25% in Warsong Gulch. Players on the WoW forums, Reddit, and elsewhere have been reporting the quote-unquote bug, but there hasn't been any communication on the change. While Blizzard did create 3 new helmets, the Resilient Male Cough, the Resilient Cloth Headband, and the Resilient Leather Mask, that 5% damage reduction is applied on top of the 25% damage reduction that's already present. Through more recent player documentation, some speculation the damage reduction might be a flat 20% without a helmet equipped. And then here we have some actual tests. Now, this is the most important part, right? So I'm going to full screen this so you guys can see it better. Okay, so here are some of the tests, and this is obviously, they use details to do this. At the top, it says all damage was tested with no modifiers to add or reduce damage. Physical damage was measured against leather wearers with no shields in normal form. This was against many targets, many of which were not wearing the negative 5% helm, meaning the 5% less damage. Okay, so our first example here, let's zoom in a little bit so we can see this a little bit better. Let's go to the original, and then we can zoom in. Perfect. Okay, so we have a lightning bolt being casted by a shaman inside Warsong Gulch. The average normal hits were doing 88 damage. And then on the picture right under that, the world hits for the same spell cast is doing around 110 damage. So that's a 20%, around a 20% decrease in damage inside Warsong Gulch. So let's move on down here and check out physical damage. So it looks like we used a rogue here. We are using Sinister Strike as our testing ability. And inside Warsong Gulch, the normal hits were averaging around 54 damage. Out in the world, the normal hits for Sinister Strike were averaging around 69 damage. That's about a 22% decrease. Now, it's important to note here, though, that at the top of this post, it says all damage was tested with no modifiers to add or reduce damage. Physical damage was measured against leather wearers with no shields in normal form. This was against many targets, many of which were not wearing the 5% helm. So we don't know which of these targets were and were not wearing the 5% helm, but as long as it's in the realm, between 20 to 25%, this seems pretty accurate. So Sinister Strike, again, in Warsong Gulch, 54 damage average, and then in the open world, 69 average damage. And then we have fire damage test. We're testing Lava Burst here, and it looks like the average was 275 damage inside Warsong Gulch. And in the open world, 357 damage. That's a 23% decrease. Now, obviously, this could be, some fire resistance could be involved in there in other cases. But in these test scenarios, they're saying that that is absolutely not the case. And 23% damage reduction on a single cast is pretty crazy. So if we look at how many times it was cast inside Warsong Gulch, it was 22 times Lava Burst was cast. Right? It hit 21 times, so it missed once, and the average between 21 hits was 275 damage. And then outside in the world, casted 4 times, and that's 357 damage. So that is, I mean, to me, that's pretty significant, right? Like, that is a lot. That's a pretty big reduction. So let's jump back to the other screen. Okay, so let's see what it says at the bottom here. Users have been documenting the damage differences and can see a consistent damage reduction applied to all players inside Warsong Gulch. while other players have reported findings that pet damage is not reduced. And this is the most important part here. This would explain why hunter pets are so powerful in Warsong Gulch, even after the numerous pet tuning changes that have taken place. While this change is likely a good thing, especially for the health of competitive Warsong Gulch, if the damage reduction isn't being applied to hunter pets, warlock pets, and priest new pets, homunculi, then that change should be corrected. As it is the holiday season and Blizzard won't likely be around to make changes, we'll have to wait until early next year to see that fixed. What do you think about flat damage reduction or items to reduce damage taken in Season of Discovery Warsong Gulch? So I have another thing to talk about here as well. When you're queuing into Warsong Gulch, right, you're most likely going up against pre-mades, and this isn't even a joke, of 2 priests and 8 hunters. So think about this logically, right? So if our damage is reduced by a flat 20% or even a flat 25%, now this is just a damage reduction, right? So you're sitting there as a warrior or a rogue or a mage or a warlock, anyone else that's not a hunter, and you're beating on a priest that is healing themselves. This does not apply to healing, right? So this also would explain why priests seem like they are such incredibly broken healers in Warsong Gulch. So you're hitting them doing 20 to 25% less damage, but their heals aren't affected by this resilience at all, right? So they're just healing themselves as if they were out in the open world, but you're dealing damage with a 30% reduction or a 25% reduction or a 20% reduction. And then again, it's not affecting hunter pets, warlock pets, homunculi for priests. This is huge. So it's completely unbalanced, right? And I do understand adding some form of like hidden resilience, not really calling it resilience and not making it something you can stack, because in my opinion, that would completely break Classic. Like, it just wouldn't feel Classic. You know, you would never feel super powerful when you got a sick weapon in a dungeon or a raid, and then you go into Warsong and you start, you know, bashing heads in. That's an important part of Classic, and I think that resilience really should stay out of Classic PvP. But a flat damage reduction for everybody that you can't stack would still allow you to feel those power spikes, because everyone is on the exact same level when it comes to that damage reduction number, whatever percent it is. So the real problem here lies within the pets. The hunter pets doing insane. I mean, hunter pets can solo literally almost every class, probably besides shaman. I've seen hunter pets solo everybody besides shamans. Warlock pets do a lot of damage, but nothing in comparison to hunter pets, and homunculi obviously pretty strong as well. But yeah, the priest healing, that's another big one. So I'm really curious to see, like, is this a bug? Is it just like if you have the 5% resilience helmet on, like, is it actually giving you 25% or 30%? Or is there actually, like, was it coded so that there is a 20% flat, like, damage reduction across battlegrounds in Season of Discovery? And if that's the case, they do need to let us know that, right? Because that changes a lot for some people. But I also want to go on record here, and when I first read this, I was like, oh no, like, resilience in Classic, not a good idea. But this technically wouldn't be resilience, and it would be okay. And honestly, it probably needs to be a thing because of all the new runes and all the new abilities, and everyone seems pretty broken, right? You'd be getting one shot left and right, which isn't fair. It just needs to be brought down to a level where it's almost even for everybody, right? This is Classic WoW. It's not a balanced game. It never will be a balanced game. That's the beauty of it. But it needs to be on a level that's fair. So hunter pets need to be, you know, taken into consideration with this resilience as well. They should be doing 25% less damage. Warlock pets, homunculi, priest healing should be a little bit nerfed if you're dealing nerfed amounts of damage, right? It only makes sense. So I'm really curious to see. Of course, Blizzard's probably on, like, vacation right now. It is, you know, we're in the holidays. We're between Christmas and New Year's. So I'm interested to see what they say about this when they come back. But yeah, I was reading about this like almost 2 weeks ago, and I didn't want to make a video on it because I was like, I don't really know how serious this is. Like, I went into a bunch of war songs. I couldn't really tell the difference that much, but I wasn't going in there like trying to specifically test some things with, like, you know, the same target in and out of Warsong Gulch. So I didn't want to make a video on it, but now that Wowhead has posted this, I feel like it holds enough water to talk about, and I want to know what you guys think about it. So drop some comments down below. I want to get into some good conversations about this. And if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It really does help me out. Again, drop some comments. Let me know what you think. If you have nothing to say, drop an emoji for the algorithm. And subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next time I post a video. And if you want to hang out with me live, I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/hammerdance. I'll drop a link to that in the description below this video. And if you want to join an awesome Discord community full of like-minded people, link in the description as well. We will welcome you with open arms. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one.